Great. Wow. Breathing and touching. Whoever would have thought these things would have become fraught with anxiety for so many people, would have been subject to rules and regulations. Breathing and touching, so fundamental for all of us human beings, and so important at this point of time to be aware of how we breathe and who we touch. So many social restrictions. Stay 2 meters away, wash your hands, wear a mask. All of these things are important to protect ourselves and other people at this time of pandemic. Many people are suffering and dealing with symptoms of the COVID virus and suffering physically. But there are so many people who are suffering emotionally because of this virus. People dealing with isolation, anxiety, depression, even suicidal thoughts. It's so difficult for so many people. And I've spoken to countless people over these last months, and so many people report feeling just not good in their skin. And when I really asked what it was, people were experiencing tactile deprivation. What do I mean by tactile deprivation? Touch, tactile, deprivation, lack of. And touch is something that we all need for healthy function and to really thrive in the world as human beings. So many people are cocooning and isolating and shielding and lacking touch. And we took touch for granted. Hugs, cuddles, high fives, handshakes, and now there's this absence of touch. And we really miss it. And it's like our skin is hungry for touch. And I'm not talking about sexual touch. I'm talking about non-sexual physical contact. And we all need that to survive. So skin hunger, tactile deprivation. When were you last touched? When were you last hugged? When will you be next touched or next hugged? How did it feel? Did it bring up a kind of a longing and a relief, or did it make you feel sad? Was it something you really missed? Touch is always emotional, and we all need good physical touch. We've all seen images of Romanian babies who lack touch. They survived, but they didn't thrive. And to really thrive as a human being, we need contact. And you think of that word, con and tact, with touch. We're apes. We like to touch each other and to groom. It's part of our social function. It determines who we are. And when we don't have touch, we miss it. And so many people are missing touch right now. Now, I don't take it for granted that touch is a positive experience for everybody. If you've had good bonding as a child, then touch is something you really enjoy, and you can relax into it, and you can trust it. But if touch has been something fraught with difficulty, abuse, maybe there hasn't been appropriate touch, it's not something that you will relax into. It's something you'll avoid. But for most people, touch is an essential part of being human. Now you may ask, why does this interest me? This whole area of touch has been fundamental to my work for the last 40 years or so. I trained as a psychotherapist and a massage therapist and a bodywork therapist. and I understand the connection between the mind and the body. I have always been more interested in the psychological application of touch, more really than just the manipulation of muscles. Many years ago, I was invited to give a lecture in Sweden at the first conference on death and dying. The reason I was invited was because I had taught massage to nurses at the Michael Sobel Hospice. I'd been many times president of the Irish Massage Therapists Association, and I was asked to teach the nurses. And I could see what they were doing had beneficial effects. They were working with their patients who were terminally ill, and they found that anxiety was decreased when massage was introduced as part of a care plan. People slept better, pain seemed to diminish, and so on. And I knew these things from what I could see and from what people were reporting back. But when I was asked to give this talk, I was much younger, more insecure, and I decided, well, I needed facts and research to substantiate and back up what I knew to be true intuitively. So I spent 2 days in a medical library in London, trawling through journals and magazines and so on, looking for research about the importance and the benefits of human touch. Believe me, this was the time before the internet. There was nothing there. There were research papers on monkeys who gravitated towards terry cloth monkeys rather than barbed wire monkeys, but nothing about human touch. So I gave my lecture, and I gave it on the basis of what I knew and I felt was right. And since then, there has been so much research in the last 40 years on touch. If you have a body, touch is beneficial from the cradle to the grave. Touch with preterm infants, touch with toddlers, touch with adolescents, touch with the bereaved, touch in palliative care. It's part and fundamental part of being human. And I'm also a funeral celebrant, and I have seen firsthand how people have been impacted by this lack of touch at this particular time. Touch, it says more than 1,000 words. It's soothing, it connects, it gives you support, it helps us get through difficult times. And many people have complicated grief and bereavement issues because of this lack of human connection and human contact. As human beings, I believe that love is one of our greatest things that we can express. And we can express that through our hands. If you think of our capacity to love and how we express, I believe that our hands grow directly out of our hearts. And our hands are a vehicle to connect up with other people. I'd like you to look at a slide or 2 slides that I have here. They're interesting slides, and what they represent is a proportional representation of the human body and a cross-section of the cerebral cortex, one showing motor function and one showing sensory function. And if you look at it, the parts of the brain related to the hand, there's a lot of motor function in the hand. It's very complicated. And if you look at the parts of the brain related to sensation and the hand, you'll see how sensitive the hand is. The hand feels so much. The hand feels all kinds of textures. And the hand not only feels, but also feels emotionally. Touch is so important in our lives. And at this time, we need to feel connected. And we need to understand the benefits of human touch. and how that can help us. And we think of the benefits. Tactile stimulation of the skin. Somebody once referred to the skin as a sort of second brain. It relates to the immune system. It relates to the digestive system. It relates to all the systems in the human body. There are so many sensory receptors in the skin. And when they're stimulated, anxiety decreases. When we're anxious, when we're lonely, when we're depressed, we have a lot of cortisol in our systems that makes us feel anxious and tense. But when we're relaxed and the skin is stimulated, all kinds of other hormones are released. Oxytocin, dopamine. And these things increase your sense of well-being. Isn't that amazing? That stimulation of the skin has such a deep effect on so many systems of the body. So what can we do about that? If we're in relationships, well and good. We can have our partners or our families working with us to soothe and to cuddle and to comfort and to hug. But so many people are living on their own. So what can they do to support themselves and self-nourish and care and comfort at this time? Well, there's lots that can be done. We can intentionally soothe our skins. It doesn't matter if you're doing it through clothes or skin to skin, but gentle stroking can make you feel comforted. And that has a deep response on, as I said, all the systems of the body. Soothing, caring, massaging, holding. If you have partners or if you have children, sit on the couch, hug them, back rubs. If you're on your own and you have a pet, the interesting thing about touch is the benefits are mutual. If you stroke your pet, he or she will respond, and so will you. It will be a beneficial experience. Stimulate your skin with showers, with the wind. Cuddle yourself in a blanket. And just know that all these things are having a beneficial effect on your whole body. So let's hope that when this pandemic is over and we can get back out there and we can hug our friends and comfort and cuddle and reach out, that we will all remember the importance of skin contact and the fact that your hands really are rooted in your heart and they are a vehicle for expressing love into our world.